Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at MODEX 2026. Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at MODEX 2026. And right now I am in the Yale Lift Truck Technologies booth, and I am going to be joined by Brad Long. He's going to tell us all about Yale, and he's also going to tell us what they're showing off and what the theme is this year. So, Brad, It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Always good to see you. Yeah, so Yale is really focused on innovating in the warehouse space with lift trucks and technology that supports that in the warehouse space too. So we're focusing really this year on building a best-in-class warehouse for today and tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and when we think about that, we're thinking about end-to-end, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're even focusing on the last mile logistics pieces, thinking about the direct store delivery challenges there and how we can improve those back of truck inefficiencies in a lot of ways and the last delivery part of that. And that's really what we did with the Yale Route Runner here too.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of other solutions, pedestrian awareness camera, automation. It's just a great opportunity for us to show off those technologies that are really changing the face of warehouse and last mile logistics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's fantastic to hear. And it's all about innovation here at MODEX, right? So looking forward to seeing some of what's going on here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, where am I going to go next?
Yeah,
I'm going
sure.
Down to
let's take
couple
you over
stations here, right?
Sure, yeah. I'd love to take you over to talk to Kevin, learn a little bit more about the Route Runner and see why it's changing the face of DSD.
All right, awesome. So let's go over to the other Kevin, the Yale Kevin, and learn a little bit about the DSD route. Sounds great. All right, sounds good. Cool. All right, now I'm over here in one corner of the Yale Lift Truck Technologies booth, and I am with another Kevin. Always great to meet another Kevin.
Always.
Happy to be here with you. So he's going to show us the Yale Route Runner, talk to us a little bit about that and some of the use cases for that. So Kevin, tell us a little bit about the Route Runner that's behind us here and what is that really designed for?
Yeah, so the Yale Route Runner is a nested solution. So it provides one piece of equipment to get from the back of the truck to the store quicker.
Okay.
Reduces touches, reduces step, reduces effort for deliveries.
All right, interesting. And it says nested. So what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so essentially the sled itself goes into the pallet jack and it comes off as one unit. Then when you get to the store, then it unnests and gives you an outdoor unit with the pallet jack to take the brunt of the parking lot. Okay. And the sled does all the indoor work.
Interesting. And I noticed that the sled itself is very narrow as well, right? So is that like design specific because of stores?
Yeah, it was designed based upon the space constraints in the convenience stores. Allow them to get deeper into the store, into the cooler, and allow them to actually merchandise right where the product's supposed to go.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit about what have been some of the reactions to this on the show floor this week.
We've been very busy all week. Everyone loves the product, the concept of it. We've been demoing it for about a year at different customers. Biggest feedback's been the drivers. The retention for the drivers is always a huge issue.
I'm sure, yeah.
So when they don't have to bend to the floor to lift cases to put them back in the racks, they can take them off at waist height. It's been a huge blessing.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so this lifts up too. I see.
Yeah,
so
it's got 22 inch. Yeah, 22 inches of lift. More ergonomic.
Interesting.
And this helps with productivity also.
All right, fascinating. And obviously, very thoughtful design. So I'm curious, where did this idea come from?
It came from just, working with our customers and seeing that there was a need to get product into the store easier. And it's a huge cost burden for the delivery side to, merchandise that product. So if we can save them any amount of time per stop, and you multiply that over 9-10 stops a day and 20 routes, the savings really adds up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see that and really great design. I love the nested feature as well. I think super smart to be able to do that. And like you said, great on the worker perspective and the driver perspective to be able to increase retention, but also make it safer for them, more ergonomic, right? And a little more efficient, I imagine, too, as well. So thanks a ton for showing us this. And we're going to jump over to another corner of the booth and see something else that Yale's showing off.
All right.
All right, cool.
Thanks,
Kevin.
you very much.
All right, now I'm on the other side of the Yale Lift Truck Technologies booth, and we have a unique camera here, and I'm with Clay. So Clay's going to tell us a little bit about what we're looking at, and 1.7 or 1.5 M that's going on around me and all the other people around here too. Clay, tell us, what is this and what is this all about?
It's a fun little display. This is showcasing our pedestrian awareness camera. Just above on the top, you can see there's a little camera that's taking view and isolating pedestrians that are near, proximate to a truck.
Okay.
The little M on top of us, that's our distance from the camera, from the truck.
Oh, okay.
Identified, ranged, and then shown on a operator remote inside the compartment of the truck. Not by meters, that's just kind of for show, but by their color and by their zone, so that an operator can identify when there's a pedestrian, around their piece of equipment, where it is on the left side, on the right side, behind them, in front of them, and then they can, react to that accordingly to change slow or to hit the brakes or to steer or whatever is appropriate for that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And great from a safety perspective, I imagine. And tell us a little bit about, so we are orange right now, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean versus others I see that are white that are farther away?
Yeah. So this just on this display today, we're seeing the boxes that prioritize the close pedestrians. Even those without the box in our view are identified and followed by the camera.
Yeah.
But we would show red there on our operator remote as the closest zone to the truck, as the nearest threat to the operator and the equipment. So that's we get tracked along and around the truck to make sure that the operator is aware, gets notified where that potential interaction is at.
Yeah, interesting. So it's kind of letting you know the distance and the safe distance, not safe distance, right? And then I see also, as people are moving along, I see kind of like a dot and almost like a trail. What is that indicating?
Yeah, so the camera, even those without the frame, are tracked. So it recognizes that as a pedestrian figure, and then follows that frame by frame through, as we see along the camera, so that camera is watching that pedestrian, whether they're in an alert zone or not. It's still tracking them to make sure that it's ready for an alert if necessary.
Yeah, and that's great, and super interesting to see this and see like the technology actually live, and I guess be a part of it right now too as well. Pretty cool. So really interesting to see this, and great from a safety perspective. So tell us a little bit about what has been like some of the reaction on the floor this week.
Well, it's been fun to see people here, doing all kinds of maneuvers and around, doing gymnastics, and see what the reaction is from the camera. That's always been fun. But excitement from people that we've got a simple system. The TV here is just kind of just for show this week, but the operator remote that goes into the compartment is just a simple aid for the operator to tell them where it's at, with a visual cue, with an audible cue, the camera, seeing how it reacts.
Yeah.
And then within Yale, we have the option for what we call a traction alert. So we can do a deceleration to the truck to get an additional trigger to the operator to say, hey, something's up. Check for your pedestrians, check your surroundings.
Yeah.
And react accordingly.
All right, fantastic. Great to see technology being put to use for the safety perspective and making those operations better, and making the forklift operators more alert too, as well, to protect those pedestrians out there and protect the operator themselves too, as well. So Clay, thanks so much for showing it to us.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Thanks for coming by.
All right, now we're going to head over to the other side of the booth and check out one more thing here from Yale Lift Truck Technologies.
Enjoy.
All right, now I'm over here in the robotics side of the Yale Lift Truck Technologies, and I'm joined by Kyle Smart. So Kyle, tell us a little bit about what's going on the robotics side right behind us here.
Yeah, sure thing. So right here, we're showing off our Yale Relay, both the automated tow tractor, as well as unveiling this year's, super excited about our automated counterbalance stacker.
Okay.
So both operating on the same platform, our automated lift truck portal.
Yeah.
That consolidated interface that makes ease of implementation, getting started, via really drag and drop features, all possible for end users.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember seeing some of that last year along with the automated tow tractor. But tell us a little bit more about the new counterbalance here. Like, why, I guess maybe tell us, why is that the next step?
Yeah, it's so first of all, it's going to be perfect for a lot of those low level applications now.
Okay.
Really being used for that direct interaction and manipulation of load.
Sure.
Including things at height. So end of line processes, maybe low level storage, retrieval from and dropping to. And it's the logical next step because, arguably handling a lot of use cases that are still fairly horizontally focused,
Yeah.
which keeps the complexity low.
Okay.
It's a great place for customers to get started that are earlier in the automation journey.
Yeah.
Similar to the tow tractor, but an opportunity to build upon an already existing tow tractor implementation, or in the cases where your use cases as a customer don't line up with that product.
Yeah.
This is really going to be a solution that has a lot of applicability in a lot of different really industries and settings. So just a great way to grow within our platform, but also meeting the customer again and those needs in terms of getting started and automating their process.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot of sense, definitely. And it's good to see it here, and congratulations on the unveiling of it too as well. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
that's exciting. So what has been some of like the reception, some of the reaction for people on the floor here?
Oh, the reaction has been tremendous, honestly. There's with the tow tractor, certainly in a number of settings, sometimes, reimagining, rethinking how you're moving materials if you're not using tow tractors today manually.
Yeah.
Of course, when folks see Forks automated solution,
Right.
it tends to resonate a little bit quicker on
Sure.
where and how can I use this? How can I implement it?
Yeah.
So that for that reason, the reaction's been fantastic. A lot of customers that are really interested in getting started with trialing the unit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where that was our goal, and
Yeah.
we've absolutely crushed that. So.
All right, awesome. Good to hear you crushed it. Definitely, and great to see it in person here. Really cool to see. And you see it picking up a pallet right now, fittingly, as we close out the conversation. It's doing its job. So,
Yeah.
very good to see you here. And thanks so much for sharing with us. If people want to learn more about this solution or some of the other solutions we talked about today, what's the best way to get more information?
Yeah, I'd say you could visit, our landing pages for Yale Lift Truck Technologies, as well as even specifically our Yale Relay landing page. So if you look that up, you'll be able to start to embrace a lot of the different features of the platform that I've kind of touched upon briefly, but also be able to get in contact with myself and my team to be able to meet you where you're at and start answering questions and learning more.
All right, fantastic. I'll definitely put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well as in the show notes here. So, Kyle, thank you once again for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, The New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.